Doc, are we live?
Yes.
Okay, I was waiting for your.
All
I'm like,
right.
I'm like,
I see ya.
I'm like an old, worn out lawnmower that won't start until you pull the fucking ripcord. And I need a Doc to get us going. Thank you.
I love
Thank
it. What do you got for us, Wags?
Welcome aboard, guys. This is a little bit awkward. We're doing the COVID type production, all kind of in our own locations. Doc, let's get the. Can we hear you on the air, Doc? Are we hearing you? Just producer.
Yeah,
man.
we can hear you. Can you put yourself on mute because there's a lot of extra noise?
Producer man from Hoyt Lakes, Minnesota. He's at the Rock Ridge Junior Gold B tournament this year. Yep. They're already knocking the libations. I mean, why not? That's what you do. And they're going to be absolutely getting it going. And we're going to hold the fort here. Of course, Peanut, L. Teagues, JC, and yourself, Pete Wagner. Wags, I'm called. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Pete, here's the deal, though. Unfortunately for Doc, it's his last kids hockey tournament. Yeah. I'm talking like in the history that he's done. He doesn't have any more boys in Edina hockey. They're all graduated after this year.
Do you know
more kids?
Do you know what that means?
It's a bittersweet. It's really bittersweet.
You get your life back. You can do anything you want, anytime, any place, anywhere.
You know, he's been doing this. You've been doing it for 14 years. It's funny. It's like after doing it for so long, spending 300 plus hours in the hockey rink in the wintertime. It is a lot of time, but it's also a lot of fun. Great memories. The safety meetings are the best.
See, and I was never a big safety meeting guy. I was always coaching,
Yep.
So
I was too.
Were you a safety meeting guy?
Well, safety meetings are probably the most important thing for a coach to attend.
Well, let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. When my kid was, we're talking 05, the safety meetings were just getting introduced.
Oh, wow.
And to me, I'd see these guys that would walk in just shit canned. And I'm like, awesome. I watched this guy get kicked out of a game because he can't control. I'm like, why would you do that? So I never understood it. I never did. So
I thought it was an interesting phenomenon when it started too, because on one hand it was like, oh, these parents can't watch these games unless they're blotto.
I know.
Yeah.
Is it that bad or like?
I really think that Doc should do us a positive and have everyone kind of look around where he's at and see how his safety meeting's going right now, because it's full-fledged 100% going on.
Well, we can see him in his closed circuit camera.
Wags, now that it's been sort of like etched in permanently, they actually have a parent post to plan the pre and post game.
So
it's an elected position.
You have a treasurer, you have a team manager. I'm the streaming guy, even though I've got this for you already. Thanks anyway. I'm the safety meeting person, right? So that's a role, is what you're saying.
Yes,
and the stress and pressure must.
The streaming guy is a new position as well.
Yeah, the streaming guy annoys the fuck out of me.
I heard just last thing is that I heard that they get so involved in these safety meetings that when it's really bad weather, they just truck in a huge RV and everyone just piles in the RV.
Seriously?
Yeah. That's what I've heard too through the grapevine.
Yep. So.
Well, while we're on the youth hockey bend here, real quick, obviously over my shoulder, you see this great high school hockey mural that I have for my backdrop.
Yep.
Still not healthy. Hang on.
Wish I could see it.
I couldn't see it.
That's one.
Well, let's all just pretend we can see it.
Oh, you guys can't see the.
We can't see you. No.
It's all good though. We'll keep on going. We can hear you.
I think it is. I'm seeing all of you guys because I'm landscaped. And are you guys portrait?
We're landscape as well here.
Okay, you're on phones though, right?
Correct. Yep.
This is high tech here.
We're on the youth hockey bend. What was that next one you were going to
high
there?
School hockey obviously is what I do, and the girls' playoffs are going on right now. There have been some really, really good first round games that have been really fun to watch, And the boys are closing down their final season of the regular season. Thank you for that. And we're getting ready for section playoffs. We have a ton of them on our website. So we're looking really forward to being able to put together another awesome late February season of that. Then we'll transition into youth. We're doing districts right now, regions and state tournaments. And then we turn our attentions to HP and all of the other things we do. So if you're a high school hockey fan or just curious, mnhockey.tv, we got you covered.
I really think some of those girls.
I thought it was wagontrain.com.
No, according to Adam Hauser, my good buddy at Minnesota Made, it's Wags TV.
Wags TV.
He'll call me and go, "Is that a Wags TV building?" Absolutely.
No, that is my.
Oh my gosh,
that's actually my password for my login.
What?
Wags TV.
Hey,
oh my gosh.
No, be serious. I'll tell you, some of those playoff games that the girls play are super, super exciting. I almost get more of a thrill sometimes watching the girls play because it's more finesse. It's not really the hitting, but it's really kind of just riding them out into the board. So it's a lot of fun watching the girls play.
Well, the ebbs and flows of playoffs are so special because when you're 1, 2, or 3 bad bounces away from losing in a single game elimination.
Yeah,
if it's that scenario in like a state tournament here in Minnesota. I know regions are double or districts are double, regions are single, but it compounds itself and how kids and teams handle it. Panic, not panic, come back. It's really fun to see. I think it's just good character building for them too, for sure. We're getting too serious here.
No, I want to
way too serious.
I want to jump in off of that though. Obviously, Wags, people here in Minnesota, I feel like for the most part are pretty familiar with the hockey culture. There may be some people who aren't, but for even some of those, for some of those that aren't local to Minnesota, they don't quite know, what it's like here when you're even bringing up, high school hockey and especially playoffs, and we start talking about the state tournament. You have a pretty good pulse. You have a pretty good feel on what that's like. I think it's important. Just kind of maybe break it down a little bit from your vantage point, from your perspective over the years of just what Minnesota, hockey means, especially this time of year in the state tourney and what the culture is like.
Jesus, you're going to make me talk. I got this voice issue and this is like,
you can keep it short.
I'm passionate and I'm passionate about it. It's a really, really good question.
Doc, what kind of finger food is that?
Where? Oh, Doc.
Yeah. Doc's in the background.
Yeah. Some sort of boneless wing. I'm going to get that later. It's more about watching communities come together.
Yep.
Everybody gets into the playoffs. Last year in the Section 8 AA, we had the 5, 6, the 6, 7, 8 seeds and the 3 seed advance, something like that.
Okay.
And so you never know what's going to happen. But the level of care and the level of desire from these players, 95, 96%, this is their last meaningful game if they're a senior. They're done. And they play it like it's their last. It's really good brand. It's gotten better and better every year. Really good right now, in my opinion. And this year is wide open. So
really wide open. Okay.
Yeah, you got Moorhead, you got Hill Murray, you got St. Thomas Academy. All 3 of those represent a different section. They could win their sections. Hill Murray most likely, Moorhead may have the easiest path. There's going to be some pressure for Hill Murray with Stillwater. There'll be some issues for STA. They have to get by the juggernaut Cretin-Durham Hall and like the 20-2 Rosemont Irish.
Wow.
Then you've got Edina, who comes in at number 5. They got to get past Wayzata, Bedell St. Margaret's, Holy Angels, and themselves. So that's a wicked 4.
Wow. That is.
Rogers looks enchanted. However, they lose last night to Andover. Rock Ridge and Grand Rapids are in the same section with Andover. They're very good, but Andover was 0-9 to start the year, 11-3 since. So then I could go to the Class A. I could go on and on and on. We cover it so close and so much that what I think happens is everybody who follows it knows what's going on, because if you don't, you're living under a rock or just choosing to watch the Wolves or do whatever, or hang out with JC, whatever it is.
JC. That's too funny. And what about, go ahead, LTs.
Yeah, just real quick. So in 2023 and 24, USA Hockey reported that there's a total of 564,000 registered players across the United States. Minnesota, over 59,000 registered players, is making it 10.5% of the total USA Hockey.
Yeah, wow. and it's been
those
that
numbers
forever.
Are big.
It's been that forever, and if you put what's been great to watch is how it's been growing though in the Sun Belt cities like Texas and Florida. And I say this all the time. We get a little bit arrogant with thinking we've got it all figured out. But quick, Peanut, where did Austin Matthews come from?
Gosh, did he come from the
Phoenix, Arizona, maybe via St. Louis? I think he was a St. Louis kid who went to Phoenix. So you go up and down the whole Team USA roster for the Four Nations Cup coming up next week, and they're from all over the country, not just hockey markets, climate wise. So I think for me, that I brought this up in a previous podcast, that's been an amazing thing that USA Hockey has done with the NHL, has been expanding its footprint, which is really good.
And I'd say having kids that are, as Doc sunsets his last child in hockey, I've been there before. At least I thought so until I had a caboose child, and now I'm in.
Sorry.
I'm in Mite One girls again.
So much fun. Fun.
The difference between now and then is that when we take the ice, there's 3 women coaching that all played D1 hockey. And you just couldn't have seen that 10 years ago. And I think it's really going to do
what a statement right there. What a statement, huh?
Yeah.
That's a big move. That's a big move because a lot of
the little girls to see the moms out there knowing what they're blowing whistles, they're running drills. And then there's this group that we contract with, which is smart on EHA's part. So you're not always having volunteers. You have this group called OS that comes in.
Overspeed hockey, Winnie Broad.
Yeah. And they all come in and they run completely different practices than these kids have seen before, just to keep it interesting and diverse. It's just amazing what you've seen. And then in a neighboring community like Bloomington and Eden Prairie, you see the numbers going down, and it's just, these numbers are going up.
Well, I'll tell you one thing though. I mean, it's really nice as a kid to be able to look up to somebody, but not only look up to somebody, but actually touch, feel, hear, and play with them. And that's what they're getting now. And back then, yeah, you're right. It would be like a father type, somebody just filling in, just to fill in a practice or a game, but they're actually being taught great things by great people.
Correct.
Well, Bloomington Kennedy.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing for the community.
Bloomington Kennedy is playing their last high school game, and I think one thing what I have to say, and it's interesting because I do this. This is my living. This is what I do. Like, you want to do a podcast for 5 hours? I got you. This is what I do.
But your man.
I find it very fascinating where people think that's like this damning narrative to, oh my God. Reality is they don't play hockey at Roosevelt or Minneapolis South. Richfield has 5 or 6 players. They're trying to revive it, playing with Southwest Christian. They're co-opt. Minneapolis is co-opted into 4. You go all the way around the interior suburbs. Armstrong and Cooper, they're co-opt. Two Rivers over on the other side of the river, their interior suburbs have changed demographics. Yeah. It's just how it is. Yeah. Maybe hockey isn't a thing for it. Maybe they've aged and they've never flipped. Edina is the one exception as an interior suburb that continues to flip. Yeah. And it flips and it flips and it flips. And it's bringing in people that were from there or desire to be there that do play sports, no matter what they are. And that's why it works. So when we think about this 10 years ago, I can guarantee you, none of you guys would have said the proposition of having Shakopee and Rogers in the state tournament would be preposterous.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah. Or Prior Lake a few years ago. Preposterous. Yeah. Well, the reality is everything's moved out. It's just how it is. It's expanding out and the players are moving that way. It's where the young families go to settle. It's just how it is. So I don't think it's damning at all.
Wags, isn't Shakopee like an aberration in the trend that we're seeing with numbers?
No, they're an exterior suburb. Prior Lake is huge.
What about
Shakopee's huge.
And the whole
Orono is really big. STMA is getting big.
Chaska-Chan.
Chaska-Chan's exterior. They're big.
They're huge.
Rogers is big.
And Orono is just a tiny little community.
Stilly used to be a postage stamp in the hockey world. They're big.
You're right.
It's
all
of this is shifting. It's all it does. It moves.
I know Edina set a record last year for registrations at the mite level. And I mean, I don't know how they did it. I know they reduced the registration cost to $100, which the jersey they give you is more than $100.
Yeah.
And so they just welcome everybody, and it's a great way to set the base.
Well, and not only that, but they offer you to get equipment and help, and there's scholarship offers for people that maybe can't afford it. So they're really trying to do their part to reaching out to the community that, you know, maybe can't afford it. They want everyone to get involved. So that's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. Jeff,
people might think it's because it's expensive, but I'd say dance and gymnastics is more expensive than hockey.
So Jeff, I got into this whole debate with a bunch of guys this morning about this topic about, I said, the reality is if people love community-based hockey, everybody should be championing the cake. There's no question. Homegrown products, state tournament after state tournament after state tournament, churn it out. Were those Division I players that were on the ice, were they from Edina or not? God, I hate my voice.
One's from
sucks.
One's from Hastings. One's from Eden Prairie. I got a mom from Eden Prairie that played for the Eagles.
Wow.
And then one's from Hastings, and I'm trying to think where the other one's from. Grand Rapids.
Wow,
okay. Nice.
The Hawks. Well, or Lightning rather. Grand Rapids Green Lightning. Edina does a really good job of bringing their players back to coach, non-parent coaches at all levels. And everybody wants to do it. It's sort of a rite of passage. So I look at it and go, all you guys that are you should want to be that, wouldn't you? Is that outrageous to think?
I will say this, because I'm a non-parent coach, and I did it for, I think, 11 years. And other associations, just right over there, they actually pay their coaches. If you're a Pee Wee coach or if you're a Bantam coach, they actually pay you. Here in Edina,
it was right over there, Hopkins,
St. Louis Park, Hopkins, etc. Yeah,
I got that done.
Everyone. So, well, congratulations, that's great. But here's the deal. Flip side is this: in Edina, you want to coach. You don't want to get paid. You want to give back because what you received and what you see, it's like this love fest of hockey in Edina.
Can you just give me my fucking gas at least? Can you get? Thanks for the gift card to Pity Blue, but can you get me my gas?
But here, you don't need the gas. But here's the thing.
No, you're a 28-year-old kid.
There's a line of people that want to coach. There's a line of people that want to coach, and I get it. If you need
do we want them?
No. Well, here's what I'm saying. Heavy
vetting.
Here's what I'm saying is that Edina has a list of parents and a list of non-parent coaches, and when you get to a level, whether it's Pee Wee B or B1 and above, you will never see a parent coach in Edina Association. And I think that speaks volumes for the program because, it's not about politics and my kids this. Sure, you have a little bit of it, but it's really diminished once you have a non-parent coach. And again, no amount of money would anyone be able to offer me to go coach from the friendships and the people and the kids and everything else that happened along the way. There's no amount of money that they could have paid me for what I received from that part of it. So I really respect that association.
I would suggest this: the reason we needed to pay coaches in Hopkins is you were coaching in Edina as an alumni. I couldn't get you to coach there. I never asked because I didn't know. But I'm just saying, nobody flocks back to Hopkins hockey. Nobody flocks back to Eden Prairie youth because they want to do that. But I do believe a lot of these guys flock back to Edina because they're getting married and having little kids. And they want to infiltrate the system. We've seen it over and over. I could give names. I'm not going to, but I mean, but it's part of the bit. Like it's so.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So anyway, I just think if you're expected to deliver and you're not a parent, you're not going to be there, and you're expected to deliver the amount of time, energy, and effort. Cut the guy a check. Please.
I get it.
Yeah, it's one of those double-edged swords too. I mean, we could go into discussions of people who are refereeing, refs out there. It doesn't matter what the sport is. Whether you're an umpire, whether you're on the ice, whether you're on the court, whether on the wherever. And I know that was one of the biggest things too. I mean, you could pay people a lot of money, but again, the way that people, are there to officiate games. I mean, that's the toughest thing too, is it's the people, just like you said, the friendships that you make. It's also the reality that, there's parents out there that are kind of crazy, that make people not want to be out there for whatever reason.
And the other thing is that it's the only real way you can hold people accountable is if you're paying them. It's the same reason people send their kids to private schools.
Yep. You work for me. Work for me.
Good point. Right.
Yeah, and say, I know we hit it pretty deep on local high school hockey. Wags, do you have anything NHL related?
Yeah, I was just say thank you, because I was just going to transition. If anybody's still here,
we appreciate you a ton.
But we understand why you left. Doc, here come your shorts. Get ready.
Yep.
You said NHL, right?
I sure did.
I got about 10 minutes before I have to buzz,
okay,
so love to touch on the NFL.
Oh, do we really have to?
Oh,
we know you're pulling for the Chiefs.
Yeah, we get it.
Swifties.
It's not
when they lose.
It's not about the Chiefs. It's about the Swiftie. Let's do it. Guys. Come on now.
If your club loses, it's going to be just a barrage. We'll get there in a second. Okay. Ryan Hartman obviously is the big story.
Yeah.
Yep. Break that down for us. Lay it on me. I heard a little bit.
You got a guy
I'm still processing it.
You've got a guy that's been suspended multiple times. Looks like he's got a little bit of an edge that he goes over, plays on it. I mean, he scored 34 goals playing a relatively clean game. And what drives me crazy are these undisciplined, aggressive penalties that'll take that aren't helping the team in the late second period, in the third period.
That helped.
So he was obviously pissed off during the game, and then he burrows the guy's head down into the ground. He gets 10 games, almost $500,000, but his cap hit still counts. He's not hurt. So then they can't carry any extra players because they're up against the cap. Like, how do you keep that around? Like, I'm like, get the F out of here. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah, and again, you guys have a better pulse, a better understanding of kind of the inner workings of hockey itself. And maybe I have to go back and watch the clip. I know if we were in the studio, we'd probably have it up on the TV right now. But how did that compare to, some of the other shots, some of the other instances that we had with good old Connor and some other players this season that have been out there? How would you compare? How would you rate? Is it not even comparable? Is it, in the same ballpark in your guys' opinion? Were other suspensions or, different disciplinary actions, did they vary vastly, or was it was it similar? What do you guys think?
It was a dirty play.
Yeah.
Ray Ferraro said the only other player that did that more often off a face-off when you weren't looking was Mess. Who?
Yeah.
Messier. Dirty. But the thing is, he took the guy and just jammed his face down into the ice with a face shield. And that thing could be a weapon too. It
was malicious. It's just malicious.
You can't do as much as he's done and expect to get away with it. But here's what I have a problem with. Shall we?
Yeah. Let's go for it. Dive in.
I'm going to give you some numbers. Ready?
Yep.
0, 0, 19, 8, 3, 10, 2, 9, 7, 34, 15, 21, 7 goal totals. Okay. 34 goals in 21, 22. He had 65 points, by far his best year. Everything else is diminishing returns to me, man. If you're killing my cap, and if you're doing selfish stuff like that, you get a major and they scored. Your kill's got to be better than that. They scored 3 on that one. So you cost your team 2 points, and now you're killing them with the cap. Would you be playing for me? No.
That's a lose-lose.
He's not worth it. He's not worth it. He's over his 11-year career. He's received seven fines already in 11 years. So if this holds up, he's not going to be coming back until like March 9th.
It's early March. Yeah, after the state tournament. Reference.
So wow. I don't know, guys. Is it worth keeping someone like that? Probably not. If he's done it once, twice, 3, 4, he's going to keep doing it. And unfortunately, when does it get to the point where you have to just boot him out of not only out of the team, but the league before something seriously happens?
They've done it, and his stuff isn't like, I don't want to say life threatening, but I mean it's getting to the level where the league is saying, all right, dude, gotta calm her down here.
Oh,
I know he's great in the room from what they say, and I hear. I'm just saying, if I'm running a team and I'm looking at you just buried me, dude. Like, I've been loyal to you.
Yeah.
You buried me. Billy Guerin's been very publicly fair about it. But if it were me, I'd be like, fuck this. I'm out.
Only a couple months ago, the Wild were complaining that Kaprizov wasn't getting proper protection.
Well, and real quick, to his defense, many of these times he's been defending Kirill. They've been a direct result of that. So that I tip the cap to. I do. You just got to do it cleanly. Just fight.
Yeah, there's a way to do it. Hey, guys, listen up. We got to talk real quick about Super Bowl because I got to fly. I have about 5-7 minutes.
Go ahead. Okay. You lead. What do you want?
No, I'm just saying, where are you guys at? I was actually at a restaurant, we'll call it, and sitting there talking to some people and overhearing people. And a lot of people are going for the Eagles. And I'm just trying to get like you guys say, a pulse for where you're at.
Yep.
Where are you guys at? Seriously.
This is probably the one time, and probably the one time only, that I will root for the Eagles. It's one of those things where
How can you?
How can I? Well, it's the fact that I'd like to have a little bit of a different mix with who's out on top. I think some people
You're one of them. You're one of them. You don't like the Huskies.
Well, it's exactly that.
Tear them down.
Tear them down. Like, if we're gonna go full circle here, I'll keep it relative to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just like Alabama. Anybody that can beat Alabama or take down a top team, I am all for it, because I think it creates a different type of culture and energy within that. It changes kind of the dynamic of the perspective that people have for that sport or for that league. When it's the same team over and over, I think there's definitely an appreciation for it as a sports fan. But to have an upset or to have something switched up, that's what we need.
There are only 2 types of people.
Yes.
Winners and losers.
Losers. Okay? Yeah.
Winners love winners and losers love losers. What does that mean? No, I'm kidding. No, but I mean, but I do think you come from 2 schools of thought. Like, I love the dynasty because I think it's really hard to stay on top.
100%. There's a respect for it.
I applaud the hell out of it.
That's some serious cred right there.
It's wild, isn't it? Like, what you got to do. And from roster building and cap management and skill and health.
Multiple years in a row.
Coaching. Whoa. Okay. So then
and the league,
the other side of the coin is
the league is designed for parity. And so, yeah, you're right. It's a great point.
Yeah.
The other part of it, though, is Peanut. I did love the Bama run for sure, but it did get a little old. Like, it was like
a little bit.
I get that. I was playing with you, but yeah, I do get that.
No, I hear you. And the same case could be made with Golden State and the Cavs back in the day when it was back and forth. Like, it's fun when you have like a back and forth for 5, 6, 7 years. But at some point, people are like, okay, like, you want to see. It's exactly that point. You want to see some new blood in the mix, and I think that's why it's going to be super exciting, in my opinion, for even the whole scheme and structure of college football, to see some new teams that will get a chance, just like we see in March Madness with college basketball coming up. You have these teams that come in that nobody has any idea who they are, and they come in and maybe they go on a Sweet 16 run or Elite Eight.
You know what us play-by-plays guys call that? We call that the upstarts. So by the way, you open up a topic we'll get into when LTX leaves.
Yeah.
I want
we'll bring it back.
I want to tease it. We'll come back to football. Do you know of a professional player in any of the majors that has ever been more spoon-fed, high-end talent than LeBron James? Can you tell me?
Jeez.
There's, what?
No, think about it.
I'll do a little bit of research.
Miami,
I'll do a little bit of research.
LA, I don't think you can.
I'll do some research. I'll come back to you.
Hey, let's talk about.
He sort of started.
Well, we have a lot to talk about with NBA too. Once LTX
so in the
off.
game, Teagues, in the game, listen, I don't even know what's going to happen. I think they're so well matched. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
listen,
I don't care.
The whole LeBron thing. There's a script already written, and I'll let you know about that one.
Okay, because you're Hollywood, right?
But I will.
By the way, these lights on me in the studio are so hot. I'm as red as a fire engine. It's insane.
I will say this about the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be really nice when they win to be the first team in this era to reach a championship game in 3 consecutive rounds, and no one's
pretty impressive.
No one's done it, and when you think about it, who has the most Super Bowl wins? What team?
It's gotta be the Patriots or Packers.
Yeah, I know the Pats are up there.
So it's the Patriots and the Steelers, right?
Yep.
And I think they're tied with 7 apiece. And
sorry, I was going NFL championships. My bad.
So then the thing is that everyone jumped on the bandwagon, right? When Tom Brady was on and it was year after year. And I'll say this, Mahomes, one more time, I think is the best quarterback that NFL's history has seen. And if you just look at that's an opinion. My opinion is I really think he's the best because he can be so good in the pocket, out of the pocket. He knows when to run, when to pass, and he's just all around a really gifted athlete. And you don't come across that.
He's the athlete he's achieving his potential, where I'd say Brady probably overachieved. Because of his mindset, his discipline, all those things that he brings to the party. And Mahomes, I would say I'd give him a little bit of credit. I like the guy; he's easy to root for. But Brady actually put his fingers on the scale as well by not taking the money that he deserved or could have gotten in the market, so his team could then improve. So I don't believe Mahomes has done that. So it is impressive to be there 3 times, knowing that they weren't meddling in the background with salary caps and things like that. So I'm with you, LTX.
I think it's all subjective. I think you look at Mahomes, what is he, 6 feet? If he's at best, maybe around that area. Brady is a big boy, bigger quarterback, just a different type of player. And I think history plays itself out. I think it's hard to subjectively say we like to, as a sports society, like to say the best one. And I think it's okay to say there are many that were awesome.
Okay. I'll end it with this. Go ahead.
Right.
I'll say
the
this:
skinny mask or the normal one.
If you take a comparison of Mahomes' first 7 years and Brady's first 7 years, and then let's bring that up next week after Chiefs win.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. After they win, all right.
Okay,
sounds good.
If they lose, you are just torched.
You're getting absolutely scorched.
We need the BRB for JC as he just went for a walk. he went straight Mitch McConnell. He waddled right off. Oh, sorry. Waddled off the screen.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, there it is. Look at the young Jeff Carlson there.
Wow, look at that.
Is that a rug or is that his hair?
Yeah.
Your hair. I met you.
Rug.
It's a rug.
It's a beautiful thing.
Gosh.
All right, boys. I'm going to sign off.
LT's final words.
No, I'm simply always entertained. I love hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. It makes my Fridays go that much faster. If you guys like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button. I know that we're over 11,500 subscribers now, and it was just 2 months ago when we had like 8. So obviously,
and we are 4 of them.
Obviously, Peanut, Wags, and Doc, and JC, and we're doing something right, boys. So let's keep that up.
All right,
love
buddy.
you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.
Right back at you.
Sounds
later.
good.
LT gracing us with his presence right here. Now, then there were 3. That was a great Genesis album, by the way. So I thought they're legend. So to the game though, like I guys, I don't really got a lot quieter.
It did. It got way quieter.
Is that weird? It's kind of surreal.
It is.
No, but I really don't. I mean, what I'm curious to see, the KC defense is really good.
Yep.
But I'm not sure where they fit on the run. It's Saquon Barkley's running game. Can he control this? Can he control this ball game? Is the question. But you have the Jalen Hurts factor too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's deadly. And then JC, I'll kick it over to you. I think the fact that you do have a running back that can still play at the level that he does at this point in his career, like that's the one thing that I think we've covered a couple of times now in the podcast, is seeing the way that some of these actually a lot of running backs had really, really great years after, getting traded or getting whatever the case was. People getting in a different town, different city, it seemed to be a net positive for a lot of running backs at the end of the day.
New offense, whatever you want to call it.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
But seeing the way that Jalen can run, seeing the way that, Barkley can run, he can catch, he can do a little bit of everything. And when you talk about not only, pass protection from Barkley's standpoint, but the fact that, he can swing out in the flat, that he can, be in those different situations to, catch a pass or, take a delayed handoff, whatever it might be. It's just being versatile at its finest. And same with Hurts. If he needs to run and go for a scamper, he can do that too. Those are some of my thoughts at large. JC, what do you think?
I've been thinking about it. It can't go. I don't think it's going to go as predicted.
Yep.
Because at some point it's got to come to an end. And I do look at the difference maker as Saquon Barkley. I look at the season that he's had, watching some pieces yesterday, that just miraculous highlight that he had where he jumped backwards over somebody. He's just had this dream season. And then in the end, he could have, broken the rushing record, and he decided that he didn't want to make it about himself. He wanted to make it about his team.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's going to have a really big game. He's going to take some pressure off of Hurts, and I think it's going to be a close game. But I think that the Eagles are going to win this.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Or at least I hope. I hope that there's, going to be a competitive game back and forth. You look at, again, obviously what they're able to do in the passing game, running game, and you got 2 offensive powerhouse teams that can do both things when they need to. And yeah, that's going to be the difference maker. And then again, even seeing as well, defense, the Eagles, secondary, they're ready to go. We'll see what happens with, the Kansas City Chiefs, their linebacking core, where they're able to, protect the middle of the field. I think that's going to be one of the biggest parts of the game, of the storyline potentially.
Yeah, just thinking about that first play from scrimmage 2 weeks ago in that other game. The guy he's feeling it. He is feeling it.
Yep. I would agree. Wiggs, what else you got?
Well, we'll see what happens. I don't think there's a lot to talk about in that game.
No.
I think it's been beaten into the ground, and let's just watch it. Let's react. Real quick, back on the Wild in the NHL. Really big win for them last night. That 2-1 win over Ottawa.
Yeah.
Gus was amazing. I think he had 38 save effort there out of 39 shots. Nearly had the shutout. But another important 2 wins is they just keep kind of inching their way toward a playoff spot. There are only 10 or 11 points that separates them from the last wild card team. So there's not a ton of wiggle in there. But I think what you are going to have are some moments where you have that loss in Ottawa at 6-0, where you have that win in Toronto, where you have the win in Montreal, where you have the win in Minnesota. If you can win a few more than you lose the rest of the way, you should be fine. You get Kirill Kaprizov back. I am looking at this entire year for the Minnesota Wild as a bonus plus year.
Sure.
It's really teed up for next year and the years after. I'm loving every minute. Let's go. It's like I have no expectations, and they're exceeding them for sure. Jeff, you agreed?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that people were writing this season off. In fact, they were writing last year's season off. And I mean, ever since Hines came in, I think he's been an inflection point for this team. That's made a difference when people are sort of like the best fans that I know are sitting back going, oh, I can't wait until the salary cap thing comes to a close with Parisi and Suter, where we can actually, re-enter the picture of, a good team that's going to make the playoffs. But I mean, I think what's happened is very impressive. And here we are doing it again without Kirill the Thrill in there. And I think it's going to be interesting as the season comes to a close.
Yeah. Real quick off of that note there too, I was just looking at the standings, for people who maybe aren't following kind of on the current uptrend or uptick between, let's see, Edmonton and us. So they're in third place overall in the league. I like to kind of look at where the total standings are for the league as a whole, not necessarily conference or division related. We're only 4 points off from being third in the league in total points. So, the grouping of teams, I know, especially we could, I know we'll transition a little bit into basketball talk, I'm sure, here at some point with the slew of trades that have unraveled in the last week. But, that's a pretty tight grouping of teams that really I feel like any one of them could have a shot at a top spot or a top seed in the playoffs. Obviously, again, you have Washington, who's just been on an absolute tear, but I think there's still a lot to be up for grabs. A lot that still has to kind of settle, so to speak.
Agreed. Let's talk basketball.
Let's do it. My goodness, talk about.
Well, what did I call for last show, and what did I get?
You called for a couple of things. Remind some of us.
More Luka.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, we were getting more Luka. We're getting more bench. They're starting to cut everything loose, and I think that's been great. Do you think they're turning the corner to winning more than they're losing?
Gosh, that's a $1 million question. That's tough. That's tough. I don't know if I have an answer. I don't have an answer for you right now. What do you think, JC?
I think it's always the case in the NBA. I think that with each passing week, I think that the intensity is moving up ever so slowly. But I think that's always the case. I bet Luka gets into the lineup faster than he was expected to get in the lineup. With Dallas, the motivation is there, and I think a lot of that is, these guys want to be rested for the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. And I think that as we get closer to that part of the season, I think that the intensity is always increasing.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think the interesting part, just seeing again what's unraveled here and seeing where the overall, I guess you could say maybe perception of where the league stands. One, I think we realized that nobody is safe, and that was something that Ant had actually put out there, and so it's just a reality. If you don't know who's safe, and again, just seeing how things have unfolded here over, like I said, literally just the last week is. I would not have imagined that we would have had a trade deadline like we did, and so now more than ever before, I think we've seen just how business-like the league is going to be. It's going to be less of some of those, dirks. And I know that was something that Luka had said previously. He had hoped that he was going to be in Dallas for life. He had loved it there.
Yeah.
And then he bought a brand new house. And then you saw some of the statements that, came up from the press conference that the GM and Jason Kidd had. Then you see some statements from his dad that come out. Then you see Mark Cuban put out some statements as well. So it kind of just felt like a kind of like an onion. Everything was kind of getting peeled back. We heard more and more stories. We heard some stuff about his conditioning, about his weight, and it's one of those things where I don't know if we'll ever really hear the full truth about. Go for it.
I laughed because I watched him walk out for that presser.
Mm-hmm.
Dude looked really good. I don't know what people are talking about weight. Like, he looked really good. He looked like a player to me. Look, you can chirp the weight or whatever the conditioning or whatever you want to do, all you want. When he does play, just look at the numbers.
He's always won.
Works. It always works.
Even when he was a teenager playing international basketball too. I mean, see what he was able to accomplish as well. I mean, he's always performed at a high level. He's always produced. The numbers will speak for themselves.
What did you think of the Durant rumors to Minnesota? That was heating up during the day. Did that freak you out?
Say that last part again.
What did you think of the Durant rumors to Minnesota? Did that freak you out?
Oh, I honestly didn't even hear too much about it.
Did you hear about it at all?
I heard a snippet. I'll be honest, I can't say I heard a lot. I heard more of Golden State Warrior discussions and or him not wanting to go to Golden State. I heard more of that than anything else.
Then I had heard that he was willing to come to Minnesota and that those talks had heated up.
Okay.
But what they would have had to give up would have just gutted the team.
Oh, yeah, it would have been a complete basically, and that's the thing. It's difficult to put that type of capital into a player of that caliber, especially at his age. I know that was kind of a back and forth discussion, even with, Anthony Davis going there where Luka's at. Luka's in his prime. I mean, he's still 25. Yeah, and you have someone like Anthony Davis. Yeah, he's 31. So it's not to say he doesn't have any of his career left, because I think he still has maybe another solid, maybe 4 seasons. If you can get 5
6 years out of him,
5 or 6, great. Look, but Luka, I
think he's been largely disrespected. Anthony Davis, I think he's been absolutely chirped, and I totally disagree. I want to see this thing play out because I think he makes them way better defensively.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I could see that, but then at the same time, did you see the other trade though that the Lakers had made for their new center as well from Charlotte? I believe it was the center from Charlotte came over, and I think that's going to be not saying it's going to be, Anthony Davis 2.0 necessarily, but he's been cooking up. He's been heating up over the last couple of weeks. And again, when you have some of the depth that they have now, again, around some pretty incredible players. You got LeBron, you got Austin Reeves, you got Luka now. I know one of the Morris brothers was involved in the trade too. So we'll and I believe Jackson Hayes is still on the team as well. So we'll see where, how some of those big men, how they'll integrate down in Los Angeles. But I'm definitely excited to see how this is going to unfold.
$1 million question is, can they gel? We always worry about the gelling now. Do they have time? Well, I mean, these are really bizarre. They're wild trade deadline things. In LA's case, a very good move. You move one chip, bring in another piece from that chip, then fill the hole from the original piece you sent. Very well done. Tip of the cap. That's how it's done. So really, really good.
Yep. And the crazy thing is, and that was only just one of many trades. Seeing where
nobody was expecting anything,
and it just unraveled. It was kind of like that set it in motion. Then you have De'Aaron Fox, who heads back over to, was it San Antonio, if I'm remembering correctly, and then you have Levine, who ends up down in Sacramento, and their lineup's I could potentially look pretty good. So it's really going to be interesting to see how things shake out, especially in the West. Of course,
Sacktown's going to be a problem in the playoffs for sure.
I would have to agree.
Sacktown.
Go for it.
What was Cuban's comments on the trade? I didn't see that.
Who cares?
It was. It was something
really effing cares.
The consensus. I'll have to look back to see what the exact quote was, but it was along the lines of he had no acknowledgement. He had no awareness that something like this was going down. And that seemed to be the consensus across the board. Jason Kidd didn't even know. And then, Luca's dad comes out, like I said, he shared the comments that he did as well. He thought it was just absolutely disrespectful. And so when you had that presser and the GM, I believe, was the one who had put it out there and said, it was between him and Rob Pelinka for weeks, multiple weeks. It sounded like several weeks. So to keep something,
I think he'll be happy in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I think he will too. I think
the emotion out of it.
Yep.
These guys, you know what? When you sign up to be a pro athlete, you're changing addresses almost all the time, unless you're a very select few in your chosen sport. It comes with the territory. You're a widget. You're not a person. You are here to serve my needs as a player to fulfill what needs to be done on the floor. You're no different than a tire on a car.
Well, speaking of that, if we're ready to pivot here, there's been some more Sam Darnold conversation about trade now that we're seeing some contracts come up.
What have you heard on your end, GC?
The defensive edge player for the Browns. What's it?
Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett. I've heard Garrett potentially to the Vikings for JJ and Van Ginkel.
Wow.
Now that's simply a rumor.
Okay.
But those are kind of the things that someone must be throwing those names around. The Vikings have 3 potential starting quarterbacks, so they're going to be in the conversation almost every time that there's a big deal to be discussed.
Exactly. I mean, when you have the depth of quarterbacking abilities there, I mean, there's a lot of wiggle room there. There's a lot of potential trade capital too.
They have 3 starters. They have the riches with them. But
what would you say about that, Wags?
They have one that's never played a snap.
Well, so then how could he be a potential starting quarterback if he hasn't played a snap? He's got to prove
only because he's a first-round draft pick and a national champion for Michigan.
You've got Darnold isn't under contract. I don't believe DJ is under contract either. So really, you have no starting quarterbacks today.
Well,
so that's today.
This moment, actively, you have nothing. You have nothing. You're Spalding. You've got Nick Mullins. He's your quarterback. You don't have any of those other 3 right now because they're free to go.
What about the honors presentation?
You have McCarthy, but he hasn't played. What's that?
What about the honors presentation last night? Did you guys catch that?
No, I didn't catch much of it.
KOC won AP Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Came up and talked. I think one of the best rookies of the year in a long time was Jaden Daniels. So he was there.
Comeback player of the year, Joe Burrows. I saw that. That was pretty cool.
I was. He says not the award that you want to win or you ever plan on winning, but he'll take it.
Right. Well, it means you're progressing.
Yeah.
How about Jared Allen getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall
That was big. That was a big look.
Only 4 in this class.
That was big.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I to me he's not a HOF player, but I read his bio today, and it's like he's the first notable thing he has the record for 4 safeties. That's the record in the NFL. He's I think he's maybe in the top 10 for sacks, but the one thing that's kept some players out, some Viking greats out, is that they didn't win a Super Bowl. And Allen was never even in a Super Bowl. So when I look at guys,
he was. Carolina,
sure?
15. Yep.
With what team?
Carolina.
Oh, that was his last season.
Yeah. 136 sacks, 12th all time. He basically he had more sacks. He was only second behind Bruce Smith and Reggie White at one point. He's definitely put up Hall of Fame numbers. Absolutely deserved. And if it was Super Bowl driven, if that's what it means, then it would be the Super Bowl Hall of Fame, and it would be a different situation.
Yeah,
and no one would be in it.
That's
a tough criteria to go by, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with it, but I know that's the reason that a guy like Chuck Foreman can't get in, supposedly, and I mean he was such a a great asset to those Viking teams. He was their best offensive player. And I don't think they're in half of those 4 Super Bowls if they don't have him.
Well, I think the Purple People Eaters were the big reason they were in those playoffs, don't you? I mean,
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
And by the way, they did not keep track of sacks until 81 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's wild.
How many do you think Carl Eller and all those guys had?
But isn't it an easy thing to go back and calculate?
How many do you think?
I mean, I'd say Page and Eller had at least together probably 20 a season.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah,
it was intense. You never got to see that, Peanut.
I know.
You never really
heard a little bit about it over the years, but no, didn't get to to see it like you guys did.
Let me just say this: the game appears, and I don't know if it's the video, but I think it's reality, a lot slower.
Mm.
That 70s brand was like in quicksand.
And again, like you look at a guy like Jim Marshall who played like 273 games in a row. And they're playing on concrete out at
they didn't have the best surfaces to run on either.
No,
maybe not the best shoes. So
I mean, if that guy's not one of the toughest humans that's ever existed simply because of that record, I mean, it's unbelievable. Especially playing for the Minnesota Vikings in that kind of conditions.
How about your boy, the Bald Dalai Lama? He's got to be in Tampa. He's got to be in Fort Myers right about now, right?
Yeah, I think he was up here for Twins Fest last week. Did a great interview. I heard he talked a lot about how he reminded me a little bit of Adam Thielen. The fact that when he was in the high school age, he never really focused on one sport. He focused on them all. And so it wasn't like a love of baseball for him or a love of football for Thielen. They had to make a decision when it was time to go to college, and that was where their best options were. And they just took the sport to another level when they were able to focus on it. Yep. And so baseball for him became that sport. And, unfortunately he's got a bad kind of like muscle fatigue disease that just doesn't allow him to do anything anymore, not even work out. But I think his outlook for this season is great. I think the ownership of the team is definitely on everybody's mind as far as what's going to happen there. But I think, like you've said, Wags, he's very excited about the talent that he's got on that roster and
there's a lot
of potential.
Well, they just replaced Kepler with Harrison Bader this week too, the Gold Glove outfielder from the Mets. Had 12 bombs last year, so he's got a little pop in the bat. So he'll be a nice addition there for sure. Danny Coulomb, on again, off again, on again, hurt again, not again, hurt again. Really good for a year in Baltimore. Coming back to Minnesota, lefty out of the bullpen. He will be helpful. Looks like they're going to run, at least at this stage. They've been known to make a deal for a pitcher right around now, between now and March. You see that happen. So I'll be curious to see if they bring in another starter. The only thing really left is what do they do with an extra infielder? Who's that going to be, and who do they replace that with? So we'll see what they do there.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. I know we're kind of right at that hour mark. I'm not sure if Doc is still here. Where he?
No, he tipped over on his chair because they're doing the safety meeting. My lights are it's so hot in here. It's like 800 degrees.
He claimed it was the internet, but I know they've got that even up in Hoyt Lakes.
Wow. That was just a chirp.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I'm not even going to go there. The arrogance is like next level. You don't really worry about your whole audience, do you? You just alienate just about everybody. But that's okay. Oh, we lost Peanut. Speaking of internet. One other thing that we should touch on that we didn't, but we'll go deeper into it later next week is the Jimmy Butler saga. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, we've seen that play out before, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just surprised it took longer in Miami for it to come to the head like it did here.
Yeah. Well, hey, it looks like we're getting booted out here soon.
Yeah, we lost JC. We got L Teagues is gone. Peanut, you're the man. Doc, you're holding down the fort. We're winding up to about an hour. I love being in the studio so much better. Please, let's get back there next week.
Yeah, let's get back there. We'll have more on the Jimmy Butler saga and plenty of other sports. Spring training right around the corner. Super Bowl. Plenty other sports talk. I know Tiger's getting back into his first tournament. It sounds like his first professional tournament here in about 7 months. So we'll see how that goes for him. Otherwise, I think that's just about it for me.
I'm dialed in on the PGA. We can talk about that more next week as well. For our entire crew here at the DigiFan Podcast, subscribe, smash it, whatever we say, hit the bell button. We'll have tons of content coming through for you. So long, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Doc, nobody followed directions. They all hung up. Hey, man, I just sent you a text. Can you do a job today or no?
Yeah, I'm just renting a U-Haul quick to pick up the statue.
Okay.
So it might be a couple hours. Then where is the job?
You're not gonna like me.
What?
Cloquet.
Okay.
About an hour 45 from here. Up 35. We're having major internet issues, and I'm wondering if you could scope out the situation, get it stabilized, because we have huge section playoffs coming from there tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. How late are they open today then?
I'll call. They'll be open till late tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, you don't need to do any wiring. You just need to figure out what's going on with the internet and see if we can make it better.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe take a switch too.
Yeah, I got like a couple 8 or 10 port switches. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So.
Let me call the arena and tell them you're coming up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you are looking for the hockey office, press 1. Arena staff, press 2. Concessions, press 3. For all other calls, stay on the line. Thank you.
You've reached the office of the Cloak Area Hockey Association and Northwoods Credit Union Arena. You're unavailable at this time, but please leave a message with your name and phone number, and we will return your call as soon as we can. For further assistance and sometimes quicker response, email us at cloquethockey@hotmail.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, simply hang up or press pound for further options.
Hello, this is Pete Wagner calling MN Hockey TV and Live Barn. We have the Section Girls playoffs coming up tomorrow from your rink, and I'd like to send a guy up. We're having some issues with the internet. I want to see if he can stabilize that and just kind of letting you know he's coming up. His name is Rush. If you could call me at 952-769-6513, that would be terrific. Thank you. Bye. Hey, what's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good, you?
Doing good, thanks. Let's get these games sold for tomorrow, huh?